Caught snooping. Former President Joe Biden's Department of Justice just got caught spying on House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan. Turns out it's been going on for 2 years. Biden's DOJ secretly subpoenaed the chairman's personal phone records. This is part of the department's then Arctic Frost investigation. That investigation was led by then Special Counsel Jack Smith. He was looking into efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Earlier, I spoke with the Ohio Republican and a chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan. Nice to see you, Mr. Chairman.
Good to be with you, Greta.
Before I ask you about the spying on you, can you tell me, are you angry?
Well, when you think about what they did for 2.5 years, who you call, who called you, how long the call lasted, when the call took place, and if I initiated the call, they know the location you made the call from because they can bounce it off that cell tower. So that's kind of creepy that the government's doing that and gathering up that information for that long of a period of time, and particularly that it went back. The subpoena started, they said, we want this information from January of 2020. Well, this was Arctic Frost. It was supposed to be about the alternate electors on January 6, 2021, and they start a year before that, and they issued this subpoena literally 12 days after this investigation starts. So, yeah, I think anyone would think, like, what's our government doing getting that kind of information on one of its citizens? And then when you add to it a separate and equal branch of government and the speech or debate clause, that it's like, what's going on here?
I would be furious. So now let's back up and let's tell the story. So the special counsel started an investigation and then went to the grand jury, 12 days later, and wanted your personal telephone records. Why? Why?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I assume the date that they started was January of 2020. What had happened back then? We had just kicked our tail in that crazy first impeachment of President Trump. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's the simple fact they know that I'm pretty darn close with the president. I don't know. But, you know, we knew they got this information on senators for 3 or 4 days around January 6th. We knew that they did the Speaker of the House for 2 months. They gathered up 2 months of his phone logs. But 2.5 years just seems crazy to me. So, well, any of it's crazy to me. But one thing I do know is when we asked Thomas Windom, Jack Smith's top deputy, who worked on the special counsel investigation and also worked on Arctic Frost before it was merged with the special counsel investigation, when we asked him how many other people, because this was after we learned about the senator several weeks ago, we asked him how many other members of Congress did you get information on, their phone logs on, and he wouldn't answer. Well, now we know why, because the people asking the question work for the guy that they did it for 2.5 years for.
Well,
so yeah,
you seem so much more measured about this than I would be. What business did the special prosecutor have going to a grand jury and going, not even forget that you're the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, which is a whole nother issue on this, but spying for 2.5 years, and obviously they got nothing because you haven't been indicted for anything, but the idea that they're doing this all in secret, to me, is just beyond, I mean, this is so unbelievable to me. So you're much more measured about it than I am.
Well, great point. The idea that they not only did this, but the same day they issued the subpoena, they get the judge to say, oh, and by the way, Verizon, you can't disclose this. They tell the carriers, you can't tell your customer that this is happening. That, to me, we passed legislation out of committee that changes the way these non-disclosure orders work. I think we should actually look at legislation, potential legislation that says, if you're going to do this on a member of Congress, you can't tell the carrier to not tell the customer, in this case, a member of the United States Congress. You got to tell them.
But any judge signing this or any grand juror, I mean, it's not just like, hey, we don't like this guy. He talks to the president a lot, so let's issue a subpoena and violate every possible constitutional right in sight. I mean, there's got to be some recourse. There's got to be some discipline, some sort of even checks and balances for this, because this is about as rogue as it gets.
We're bringing in Jack Smith. We referred Thomas Windom, the guy I was talking about earlier. Oh, by the way, to add to it, Thomas Windom is the guy who signed off on the subpoena to take Scott Perry's phone. They physically took his phone. And I've looked at the order from the FBI that says before they took his phone, they surveilled Scott for 1 week. And it said in that order, find out where he lives, where he works, as if they didn't know where he works. Look at his daily patterns. It said take photos of his vehicle and home. They did all that to a 14-year member of Congress, a United States Army general. They did that to Scott Perry. And then we find out what they've done here. As you point out, that is when you put it all together, you say this is how weaponized the Biden DOJ had become.
Well, you know, this sounds weird, but I'm glad it happened to you because you have authority, because it can happen to the regular citizen. I wish you were a little bit angrier. I wish you were a little bit angrier because I think there ought to be recourse because, you know, this appears to be such an incredible abuse of power, like a star chamber, things that you read in horror movies about what happens in other countries. So I hope you get angrier because something's got to be done about this, and we got to find out why they did it and hold them accountable. 2.5 years is just, I mean, even 2 days or 1 day, and telling the telephone company not to tell you is just beyond the pale.
Yeah, sure is. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Look, we want Jack Smith in under oath, and he's going to answer a lot of questions, but we're gathered, because it doesn't stop with me. There are going to be other members of Congress that they did this to. I don't know if it'll be as long. Right now, it just happens to be the longest time frame, but it's happened to others. And what if they did this, Greta? What if it was anyone and everyone that voted no on January 6th against, when Pennsylvania or one of these states? I mean, that was the criteria? How a member votes then determines that you're going to go spy on them and get their phone logs? Like, that's just, again, how ridiculous this. And I want to know if Garland signed off on this. I want to know if Lisa Monaco signed off on this. What did Chris Wray know about this? Chris Wray and Garland and Monaco all testified in front of our committee. We asked them all kinds of questions about all kinds of issues. I know Chris Wray wasn't square with us about the whole Catholic memo. Was this something he knew and wouldn't tell us? I want to know that as well.
And I want to have this done in an open hearing for transparency so the American people can see and weigh it themselves. So I'm taking the last word on that because I don't want any of this behind the doors where where they feel more comfortable talking. Whatever it is, let her rip. Let us see. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You bet. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Take care.
People think news just happens. It doesn't. It happens because there's someone there to capture the moment, to explain it and share it. That's my job. I go where news breaks and give you the facts. Join me for The Record on Newsmax.